Hey, it's Pierre. I have some feedback for you on the Kennex Destiny models. These are the traditional head shape rackets from Kennex, part of their 2019 release. I have been testing all three of these out separately. I just wanted to give you some comparison points and tell you which one was my favorite. Thanks to Dan from Kennex for providing these rackets for me to review for everyone. So, we have the, again, Kennex Destiny Speed model. This is the highlighter yellow and black color. This is used by Nathan Lake on the Pro Tour. He's Kennex's, I think, first, maybe not first, but current Pro ambassador. And he uses that one. Then we have the Kennex Destiny CB, that's the Counterbalance. This has the it's in there. I don't know if you could hear that. Actually, it has a little, feels like it has a little in the head too. Maybe I'm deluding myself. This has the the Kinetic material in the handle that I've talked about in previous videos, and then we have the Kinetic Destiny, Kennex Kinetic Destiny. This is the black and white one, and this has the Kinetic material in the head and the handle. I guess a little bit of both. So this has more of that Kinetic material. Right, so in terms of how these played, you know, I'm just gonna say straight up that I preferred the teardrop shapes to the traditional head shapes. And partially that is because I personally prefer teardrop shapes to traditional head shapes at this point in my playing lifetime. So in picking between which of the traditionals I liked, I've played with the one that I went to when I had to play an important league match, where I got my butt kicked, but not because of the racket, but because the player I played was much better than me. When I had these three to choose from, the one that I went to, the one that I trusted the most for that match was the CB. And the reason for that is, number one, that was my favorite of the momentum models, the teardrop. So I kind of, maybe it has a little bit of a glow from that testing. But I also like the balance of this a little bit more. It's a few grams heavier than the Speed model. It is 7 grams heavier, and I was surprised to see on here a balance point of 35.25. It feels head heavier than that. Maybe it's just the weight of the racket. I basically just liked the solid feeling of this racket, and as I've mentioned in previous videos, I don't want a racket that's too light and too maneuverable. I want something that has a bit of solidity to it, so that I don't get into flicking the ball too much. It's not really my game, and I'm not very good at it. I'd rather just have a nice clean stroke with a slightly heavier racket, and even though this is head light, it just, I guess the extra weight in it didn't feel quite so head light as that number might say. It felt just a bit more solid all the way through. So not far behind, in my opinion, personal opinion, is the Speed, the Nathan Lake racket. This is, it's lighter, and so it feels more maneuverable, and interestingly it was a little head heavier. I couldn't really tell that just swinging it, and I was surprised to see that it was at about almost 37 centimeter balance point. This is pretty head heavy if you look at that number, but it feels quite maneuverable. And it was one of those rackets that I did feel like it was light enough to get into tight spots and out of, but it didn't feel so light that I felt like there was nothing behind the shots. So this was a close second. I didn't trust that extra lightness when it came to a big match, but I did actually play with this in other games recently. I just used this today with playing Richard and a friend of mine, and you know, I was really kind of enjoying just being at the tee and cutting across and cutting balls off quickly with this, and still felt a very good amount of control over my swing. So that was a close second. And then the Kinetic one, it was just a little too, by now I'm used to the Kinetic piece of it from having tested the other rackets and this one extensively. It's more just, this was just a little too heavy for me. This is 163 grams and head heavy, 36 3/4 balance point, and so just the combination of that, it still worked, and I could still get good mileage out of it, but just for my personal taste, it was just a little bit more head heavy than I personally want. But if you're looking for, if you want kind of a little bit head heavier, a little heavier racket, this might suit you best. So those are my thoughts on the 3 Pro Kennex Destiny models. I'll try to do a hitting video with these in a future video. All right, so hope that was helpful. Thanks a lot. Bye.